welcome to another episode on TLC today. My name is Toby Jolubo, and today on TLC, we're going to be talking about physical abuse, directly or indirectly. I'll take a quick commercial break now, and when I'm back, you would meet my guest. Welcome back, guys. Today in my studio, I have an actor, a moderator, someone I see and I think is the best and the very right person to discuss my topic today. Welcome, Kalu.
Wow.
How you doing?
I'm very well. I was almost thinking you were talking about somebody else. When you use the word best, well...
Actually, I've seen a couple of your movies and, you know, trust me.
I know
you do. You do. Of course you do well. Of course.
Thank you.
You do well.
Thank you.
Well, it's good to have you on the show today.
Thank you. I'm really excited being here today.
All right. So, Kalu.
Yeah.
I'm discussing physical abuse.
Yeah.
You know, one way or the other, some people inflict pain on the other person. And in 2022, physical abuse has actually become very rampant. We see from parents to kids. We see from boyfriend to girlfriend. That's even the more, and we see from fiancé to fiancé, you know, and a whole lot more. I just want you to explain to me, when was the first time you understood that this could actually be termed as abuse?
Growing up, I never thought it was abuse. It was
It
normal.
was okay with you.
It was the norm, you
Okay.
know. But I think I was a bit fortunate because I am the last child and the only son.
Oh,
yeah.
So mommy pampered you?
Yeah, so there was this pampering, you know. But then I saw my mom. My dad was a bit lenient, but then I saw my mom really... I mean, Mom, I'm sorry, this is not, you know. Yeah, so there was quite, you know, a lot of physical abuse on my sisters.
Okay.
But what I was able to understand is that these didn't come from a place of hate. You know, it came from a place of her understanding of how best to discipline her kids, you know. But you'd realize over time that it's usually not the best way. Because
in 2022.
In 2022. Some people in 2022 is still happening. And it's because we need to sensitize not just the younger generation, but the older generation, our parents. You know, because then most parents haven't learned to understand that, see, if I hit my kids or if I spank them with this or that and inflict injuries and pain on them, it really doesn't change anything.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we've heard of stories where people get into jail for wrongdoing, and the moment they are released, they go back. You know,
that's true.
Yeah, that's true. So it's the best way I think to discipline a child. There are other ways to do that, rather than physical abuse. You know, so there needs to be the need to sensitize the older generation, our parents, and tell them, look, this thing, it doesn't work. If it worked back in the days, now, you know, it doesn't work. So for me, it's a no-no. I'm somewhere in 2022. I'm hanging somewhere between what's that thin line between physical abuse and the other extreme where it gets really
mentoring them, and coaching
them.
them.
So sometimes I think that you can spank, you know, but not so much so that it becomes, you know, inflicting pain. Injury, you know, and it has mental effects on the kids,
Okay, I totally agree with you. And for 2022, I really do not think not spanking, inflicting a pain on a child right now.
Yeah.
As much as possible, I think these kids, they are so aware of what they're doing.
Absolutely.
So they would rather prefer you sitting down and having a proper discussion with them. And I know of recent parents are in between being called out on social media.
But some of these kids, sorry to cut you, the thing is we need to understand how the mind works.
Okay.
Some of these kids, it will shock you.
Yeah.
They prefer to be hit with a cane or anything than sitting them down to talk to them. I'd give you the reason why I said that. What's more difficult for a child is when you, for example, when you ground them. What's that thing that a child loves the most? He loves to go play football. He loves to play basketball. He loves, video games.
Yeah.
A child would say to you, please beat me and let me go back to my video game.
That's true. That's what they do.
Yeah. He would rather, Shebi is king. How long would the pain last? Just beat me. But you see, the child, the parent or the guardian does not know that beating your child or whoever you're looking at, it doesn't really change much. So they keep doing it and doing
over and over
if
again.
It would change anything, then, they would have seen results. But they keep doing it over and over again because the child just, I'm used to this thing. Now, to the parents, there is no breakthrough. To the child, all right, that constant abuse affects him mentally, emotionally, psychologically. Then over time, he sees it as a norm. Okay, I can do wrong, and the best way to get away with it is just, hit me and I'll go back. But when you sit a child down, like you just said, and say, you know what, you've done this the first time, the second time, the third time, you are grounded for the next 1-2 months. That's even more torturing.
True.
When he comes out of that thing, that punishment,
he never wants to go back there.
It will be difficult.
Yeah,
so I think that parents should understand when and how to hit a child. I use those words, when and how, because know when to do it. It's not. It doesn't work all the time.
It doesn't.
And how you do it is also very important in the sense that you don't do it like you are hitting, a hardened criminal. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would ask this question: when do you think is a better time for kids to start having a proper conversation so they don't have to be physically inflicted pain on?
Times are changing.
Yeah, true.
This is 2022. The kids that are born into this world right now.
You're talking about the Gen Z.
We are coming to the Gen Zs. Those people, they have a lot of trouble. Let's leave those guys. We are coming to them.
I have them.
Yeah, I will see them. Don't worry.
Okay.
I would have.
We will have a conversation with them. No problem.
Yeah. So this world is more technologically driven, and then you realize that babies that are born now, right in the womb, they already know what's happening.
True. YouTubers.
Exactly. So. It's a rapid world. It's becoming really fast.
True.
So the way you would handle a kid in 2022 is most definitely different from the way you would have handled maybe in the 80s or early 90s.
In the early 90s.
So when you say when is the best time to have proper conversation with these kids, I think is from a very early stage, in their lives, because a lot is happening. I mean, there are certain things that, I wouldn't want to say here,
True.
But you realize that so much is happening. Our kids have been exposed to information that they shouldn't be exposed to. Okay. So you tell yourself, oh, it's not time to talk to my kid now about this thing or that thing, but you realize that they are getting that information somewhere else.
Somewhere else, if you're not talking about it.
So the best thing to do is right from, as early as even 5, 6, 7 years of age, talk to these kids. Let them know, oh, these are the things that happen in our society. Why you cannot be this person or be that person. Why you should live this way. It's an early thing. I mean, the Holy Book says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old,
he would not depart from
so
it.
the best time to train a child. It didn't say train a child at his old age. So it talks about that period of growth, from very young age. So train that child, talk to that child.
So when would you say is the best timing for training a child? I am of the opinion, because there are some things some kids will do before 18. And once they are over 18, I am of the opinion, you can't correct that again. It's already an habit.
Yeah.
They're used to it.
Yeah.
And I believe bad habits is even it's the most difficult thing you could actually want to change.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So I believe once you're 18, correcting a child that is used to doing something from the ages of 12 to 16, and you're not saying, stop it, don't do that. When do you think is the best time? That's exactly what my question is.
That's why I said 7. When the child is 7 or 6.
When the child is 7 or 6.
Just start, because if
once they can start reading and writing.
Exactly. Just you know.
So myself, I do believe a child, once you have eaten a particular age. Okay, let me set an example. I've seen a father training a son in the UK saying it was okay to start correcting the child from the ages of 3 because he saw it. The baby was still in Pampers. I see them as babies even at 3. But the father made me understand, no, he was aware of what he's doing, especially because he was even born in the UK and he could talk. He could have just said, I wanted to ease myself and use the bathroom instead of doing it on himself and having someone to clean up for him. And he really had to beat this boy with a belt.
Wow.
And I'm like, no, uncle, you don't have to do that. Like, he's still a baby, he's young. And he said, no, he's not young. Let me do that now, because in some few years, this guy will call the popo for me, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Wow.
So I think from the ages of 3 and above, it's a very good time to start having a proper conversation with them.
That works. That also works.
Okay, I'll take a quick break now, and when we're right back, we would meet my new guest. Welcome back, guys. I just wanted to find out, what do you term as physical abuse on kids?
Inflicting bodily harm.
Okay.
On kids, that's what it is.
So I find out some parents pinch and bite their kids.
I've not seen bite. Biting is another level.
that's so gross, right? I agree too.
Yeah.
All right, I have on the set today my Gen Zs, which is Esohe and Moyo. How are you doing today?
I am very well, thank you.
How old are you, Moyo?
I'm 24.
Okay.
I'm 20.
20. All right. So the first time just tell me what you understand by physical abuse.
Okay, well, for me personally, what I term to be physical abuse is inflicting unnecessary pain on a person. Like, it's, especially when it's just literally outrageous and unimaginable and basically unnecessary. That's what I think it is. Okay. Unnecessary harm and pain
on someone. Okay, what do you term as physical abuse?
I think it's like putting unnecessary harm and pain on a person, which it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, that's what I feel.
So that takes me to my next question. Would you term beating from your parent as physical abuse? Yes.
So yeah, I would term it as physical abuse.
In 2022?
In 2022, yes. I would term it as physical abuse because, you know, there are certain things, like, I'm just going to use myself as an example now.
All right.
There's certain things that you could have easily just communicated to your child. Like, you know, because the way that the whole Nigerian parenting system is organized is
Nigerian parenting system.
Because I just feel like it's, with us here, it's organized in a way that, you know, there's like, it's almost like a hierarchy of, your mother and then the child, you know, so you can't, your parents are not essentially accessible. So there's some certain things that you might be going through at a certain age that, of course, they don't expect you to be going through those type of things at that age. But because you can't open up and tell them about those things, you're just there suffering in silence, in quotes, because you don't essentially even understand it. And this is me just speaking from like my own personal experience. You know, and then maybe they just catch you doing something questionable. And even yourself, you're confused. You don't even know what you're doing, but then they just go at you like,
beat you.
What is this? How can you be doing this? Haven't I said this in passing before?
In
just
passing?
Go at you. Yes, exactly, in passing. Like, because we don't even, you don't sit down to talk to me about these things.
Okay.
I don't know about it.
So I was not aware.
That kind of thing. And then you now think that, oh, okay, I've caught you doing this. So the only way I can correct you is to beat you and just flog you unnecessarily and think that you will get the point. Okay. The only thing that does is that it just creates fear in me.
That's it.
It just makes me afraid of you, and it makes me afraid of you finding out.
That's true.
That's all, because I could easily just go back to do it and make sure you don't find out.
About
so I feel like communication is really essential.
Do you share the same view with Moya?
Yes. So I feel like as humans, we make mistakes, right?
Of course.
So Mom, Dad, I'm 20, you can't be hitting me, right? So do you feel like if you hit me, I would listen to what you said, what you're trying to correct me for? So you can just communicate to me, like, seriously, I'm 20, I'm old, I'm not 13, I'm not 12, you don't have to hit me, right?
Okay.
So I feel like communication is key, like what Moyo said.
So when they don't communicate, you get physical inflicted pain on yourself. So let's talk about the parents or some of your friends that you've seen their parents beat them so badly that they can't even communicate. They can't even express themselves anymore. How much do you think that has really affected them psychologically? You see them in your classrooms or in the society?
So I feel like it's just one of the reasons why we have like so many children, so many young people, young adults my age, even younger than me, battling depression and so many mental health issues, which is not really something we talk about here because you're like, you are not mad, it's not your portion in Jesus' name.
That's what parents say.
Actually real. It's actually real because you are beating me like I'm a goat. I'm not a goat. I'm a human being. So like, so it just, like you said, they start keeping to themselves. They start having like social issues, because they can't really open up about it, but they're going through it at home. They start getting detached. There's nobody to open up to. They're wallowing in whatever it is that is going on. So it's really, I feel like it just creates a whole psychological mess for them, and they just can't,
express.
Yeah, they can't express themselves. They just keep withdrawing, and it's so crazy because you think you're beating them and you're correcting them, but like they're still doing that same thing. So I even feel like it's not like the children are being disobedient, even though some children are actually goats. I know I've said that we're not animals, but like some children are very stubborn.
Okay.
But I feel like there are ways that you can still, get at this. And I'm not just saying, so sometimes, right, there's some punishments that may work because truth is I served punishments a lot when I was young.
Okay, so that's another angle, right?
I served punishments. I did the whole
stood down,
all that thing.
Okay.
In fact, I feel like most of the reason why I don't even do certain things again is because of the kind of punishments. Like they will even forget you there, and you'll be sweating, drip, like it's crazy. So I even feel like maybe that works for the ones that are really stubborn.
Okay.
But for some certain things that you don't even have to beat them, that you can just talk about even before it becomes an issue, I think, that makes sense. But,
let me come to you. So which was your favorite punishment while growing up? Because I know your own time was quite different from theirs. So which one was either your mom or your dad always, and it was the favorite one? It was the best soft landing for you.
Soft landing was Kano.
Not the punishment, right?
Not the punishment.
Okay.
It was Kane. Like I said earlier, my dad was my G,
Okay.
But my mom was, the disciplinarian. So
of the house.
You do something wrong, I remember as a child growing up, the first time I ever had alcohol, I saw loads of drinks in the fridge.
Okay.
I was very thirsty. I'd just gotten back from school. And for some reason, there was no water.
Okay.
So I just saw this black bottle.
Okay.
Black-looking bottle. I just opened it and the first gulp, it was so bitter. But it was chilled. I don't know whether that was, how I'm not saying I love to take alcohol, but how we started tasting sweets.
Okay, you got introduced.
It was really bitter, but then I'm really thirsty. I downed the entire bottle, and then my mom saw me. I think it was about maybe 8, 9 years of age, and she saw me. She's like, "How? What happened?" So she went back to my dad. I'm like, "Your son at the age of 9
started
is
drinking
alcohol," and my dad was like, "That's my guy." So my mom always had this issue of she goes to my dad.
And he's not helping.
Yeah, so if you ever hear my mom say, "I would correct you," correction was like, is just euphemism. So when you hear correction, you just know that you are in for it. So there were different size of cane. There's the fat one, the thin one, and some I prefer the fat one. Because those thin ones are very
more painful
for me. But did it change me? I think it did to the point that it could. I think it wasn't the cane that entirely made me a better person. Yeah, because the constant beating wouldn't have made me, become a better person. So I think the cane just did its own job. Then the conversations I had with my dad, man to man, see, let's talk. So it was a combination of both. So there was a balance. You understand? So you can't say to yourself, only hitting the child would completely correct the child. That's why earlier I said, know when and how to
start having that communication.
Yeah, and how to hit or when to have a conversation. So yeah, mine was cane. But I mean,
Moya, so I want to find out from you, which was your own?
From a place of pain.
My favorite punishment.
Yes.
I don't have any favorite.
None was favorable.
None was favorable. It was like torment, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
SOA?
Well, growing up,
you're still growing.
Okay, so when I was a kid, right?
Okay.
I don't remember, probably like once or twice I was beaten. So like, they always pampered me.
Oh, nice.
I lost.
Were not naughty.
No, I was very stubborn.
Oh yeah,
I was very stubborn. I was very, but like I was type of child that if you give me and you collect. So I didn't really care if you're older than me.
For real?
Yes, I didn't care if you're older than me. Because you can't talk to me anyhow. No. So growing up, I lost my dad when I was 2, so I didn't have, my mom was never around. So I grew up with my grandma. So it was just always pampering, petting, and all that. But why is it that it's always the aunties? The aunties that have wearing their like, my auntie gave me a really tough time when I was a kid. Wow.
That's wow. That's wow. Okay.
But we thank God we're on good terms now.
Oh, nice. All right. I would go on a quick commercial break, and when I'm back, we'll continue to talk with my guest.